Together we are invincible. Save the world from wars. Save the world from breaking apart. Save us from losing our hearts. Save us from losing our souls.
morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning.
Hey, yeah, good morning and that. It is Uncle Lou here. Appreciate you tuning in. This is the morning show with Uncle Lou and BVD. BVD will be joining us soon. See him in the comments per usual. So he'll be joining us here in just a second. And great guest today, return guest, a guy that's been around for a long, long time. If you've spent any time at all on this channel, especially during any of the live streams, I'm sure you know who he is. One of the he trash talks a little, but honest. You know, sometimes even when you don't really, I like in this case, I've met this person in real life, but sometimes you get to know somebody enough online, you can tell they're just a nice guy. This is one of those people, but SALEEN Driver will be the special co-host this morning. It's his birthday today. I'm not going to tell you how many years young he is. Some people are funny about that, so I'll let him divulge that information. We'll add him to the show in about 15 minutes or so. So anyway, I've seen him in the comment section this morning too. So y'all go ahead and wish him a happy birthday. We'll do it again. BVD is going to sing the Mexican restaurant version of karaoke to SALEEN Driver when SALEEN Driver calls in. So that should be fun and exciting. Here's BVD now. Let's add him in. Yeah, good morning, BVD.
Hey, good morning, sir. How far art thou this lovely morning?
Man, doing good. I was just giving people the good news about it being SALEEN Driver's birthday and how you have agreed that when he calls in, or when we add him here in a few minutes, you're going to sing him the Mexican restaurant version of the happy birthday song. So people are really looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. Me too. I'm
Do you
really
have
looking
your
forward to that.
do you have your Moroccos or whatever you need ready to go? I'm sure you do. You're always very prepared. Hashtag professional. There it is. What is it? Oh my God. What do you have? What do you have that just happens to be sitting around that you could shake like that?
I don't know what the hell this thing is. It's a little egg. I've got two of these. Somehow I came across these when I was with my last wife. I don't know what you call these things. It says Harmony on it, so
Well,
it's these things.
That makes it seem now like I really did tell you ahead of time that you were singing the Mexican. Like it makes it seem like you really were prepared. Obviously, I was just kidding and making that up, but that was hilarious that you happen to have something sitting there that you could shake like an actual Morocco.
Total and 100,000,000% freaking coincidence.
Yeah.
You
Else.
literally could have said you literally could have named any other anything in the world, and I probably don't have it sitting here.
Yeah. something else that I didn't give you any warning about. But you ever use this expression on somebody? Sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than it is permission, or easier to ask forgiveness than it is permission. So I just assumed that you were okay with this. But here's what I've decided to do with. Of course, I called into your show last night. I'm going to talk briefly this morning. I mean, very briefly about the situation from this past weekend. However, I called into BVD's show last night. It was about the first 30 minutes worth of BVD's show. I've put a link in the description of this video that says link to the BVD video where I explain and apologize, whatever I put in there. You can click that link now, later, whatever. If you watch about the first 30 minutes of that video, it's me calling BVD, and I give a very long-winded and detailed explanation and apology for certain things that happened on the channel and this weekend. I've decided not to repeat that story 2 or 3 times because sometimes when you say the same things over and over again, I felt like I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish last night with what I said to you, and I feel like if I try to do it again, I might leave something out. And then
Very thorough.
And then I got to go again the next time I go live and say, oh, I forgot this and this. And I'm done with that situation. Like I told you last night, I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I would encourage and ask anyone who was worried or knows what. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't worry about it. If you do, take the time sometime today or whenever you want, if you want, and you can watch the first 30 minutes of BVD's stream from last night. The link is in the description of this video, and I give a thorough and detailed explanation. All I'm going to say about it this morning is that, again, what I did was wrong. Forget about what anyone else did to me or whatever. That doesn't matter. I handled the situation wrong. I should not have done what I did. I'm sorry, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed I made that video. I'm not making any excuses for what I did. Everyone knows, if you know anything at all about the situation, you know enough to know what led me to that point. But that's not an excuse. I should not have done what I did. I am truly sorry that I drove down there. I'm sorry I made the video. And I'm embarrassed about it. I really am. And it's hard for me to apologize in general. Even in real life, apology is not a strong suit for me. Combine that with the fact that this is a YouTube channel that is devoted to college football trash talk, and apologizing is very hard for me to do. So the main takeaway from the long-winded explanation I gave on BVD's stream last night that I want to pass on again this morning, because I know not everybody was able to tune into that last night, is that I was wrong. It doesn't matter what was done to me. I shouldn't have reacted that way. It won't happen again. And I'm embarrassed. The only other thing I want to mention about it is the super chat situation from the video that I made on the way down there. I'm not going to sit around and try to convince people that I don't ever ask for super chats, ever. Clearly, I appreciate them like any YouTuber would, and I try to do a good job of making that come across. I did not make that video on the way down there for super chat money. I realized that it came across that way in the video, I completely get it, and I wish that's the main reason I wish I wouldn't have made that video. So. To anyone that donated during that live stream, I have looked and looked and looked. There is not a way for me on my end to go in and cancel or refund those super chats. There's not. But there is a way for you, if you gave a super chat, to get your money back. I have posted a link in the description of this video, right above the BVD link, I think. It's either right above or right below. You can click that link, and it's a Google, it takes you to a Google form, a Google website basically, that tells you exactly what you need to do to get your money back if you donated on that live stream and you regret it in any way or feel like you shouldn't have or for no reason at all. So outside of that, I don't know what I don't know what much else I can do about that. I did not intend for that video to come across as though I actually needed bail money. I meant the bail money thing as a joke, but I think because I was so angry in the video, I think there might have been some people who donated who actually thought I needed bail money, and I didn't mean for it to come across that way. Again, I understand that it did come across that way because I got a lot of messages from folks.
I'll tell you what I think,
saying
Lewis.
that. So hold on, let me just finish because I don't want to have to.
All right.
Then I want to be done with it, and then whatever you have to say, we'll go from there. But I did not intend for it to come across that way at all. And so if anybody feels like they donated for, well, I don't even, it doesn't even matter. If you want your money back from that video, I completely get it and I understand it. And if there was a way for me on my end to go back and just click buttons and refund all those, I would have already done it. I feel terrible and awful about the entire situation. And so I am encouraging anyone who donated to click the link in the description of this video. I'm going to leave that link in the description of every video I do for a while. I don't know how long, for a while. It's not a good idea in general for a YouTuber to leave a link on how to cancel a super chat in the description of their videos, okay? Because a lot of people, or some people, will leave super chats. I'm taking a risk here. Trolls can do this, leave a super chat with some message about my mother, and then just go back and cancel the super chat. So, but I'm willing to deal with that because I'm not really worried about those people anymore. I'm worried about the people who watch this channel for the right reasons. And again, if you donated during that video, I encourage you to click the link in this video and get your refund from Google. I apologize. I'm embarrassed, and it won't happen again. That's it about that. Any more explanation you feel like you want or need, please watch the BVD video from last night, the first 30 minutes where I called him. That link is also in the description of this video.
There you go.
And that's that.
I'll even help you guys out a little bit further. If you go click that video, if you skip forward to about, say 15 minutes in to the video, 15, 20 minutes in, that'll save you a few minutes time there.
Yeah.
We get to it pretty soon.
Is there anything you would like to add or say about that situation, BVD? I'll say this too. I thank you again, BVD, on here. For anybody that didn't hear me thank you last night and doesn't take the time to watch the video, but you were a big help to me when I really needed it.
You don't know me any thanks. You don't know me any thanks, man. You would have done the same thing for me. So
right.
That's what friends do.
Yeah. So.
But you're welcome.
All right. So other than that, how was your weekend, BVD?
Boring as shit.
Well, you better get used to that, buddy.
Yeah, I know. What is this? I mean, is there any coincidence whatsoever that they've canceled all this until tax day? Because I know a lot of people are going to read. I know
I didn't
a lot
even
of
think
people
about
are.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, people are going to read into that. I could give a shit less about tax day, to be honest. But that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings all this stuff is getting postponed or canceled. It wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit at all if they canceled or postponed the tax deadline. I'm just going to be honest.
Wouldn't that be great? I'm not looking forward to hitting submit on mine. I can tell you that right now. I'm waiting to the last possible minute. That wouldn't hurt I'm waiting on that headline. Coronavirus cancels tax deadline. I'm pretty sure that's one cancellation we won't see. In fact, I'm surprised they haven't moved it up.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But of course, what BVD is referring to here is the NCAA now has officially canceled any and all sporting activities tied to any university through April 15th. Now, that doesn't mean that on April 16th, everything is going to fire back up. this is a wait and see thing. I mean, I hope this thing is over tomorrow, but we don't know. I don't know what kind of shape we're going to be in come April 15th versus where we're at now. I don't know if it's going to be about the same. I don't know if it's going to be worse. Maybe it gets worse between now and then, but then by April 15th, it's pretty much over. I have no clue. So, but just don't let that headline make you think that, oh, well, Georgia's spring game was supposed to be on April 17th or whatever it was, so they're going to play the spring games. No. No, first of all, they're not even allowed to practice. You could forget about spring games. I could just tell you that now. They're just not happening. They're probably going to do something where they allow teams an extra 2 weeks of practice somewhere, but it's not going to culminate in some spring game where 100,000 people. I can tell you right now, as much as I love the spring game, I'm not going to a spring game in June. No way. 110 degrees? No, thank you. No, I won't do it. So
it's bad enough going to regular season games the first month or so.
Exactly. Can you imagine sitting out there for like a 4:00 spring game in June? So I don't even think they'll probably end up having them. They like I said, they probably will allow. Maybe they allow teams to start summer camp 2 weeks early this year or something to sort of make up for the 2 weeks or 3 weeks of practice. I keep saying 2 weeks because I think it's 15 practices they allow you during spring
days.
Break. Now, some teams spread that out over 4 weeks or something, but you get 15 practices or 14, 15, somewhere in that range. There's what the NCAA allows for spring practice. So, maybe they allow them to start summer camp or fall camp, whatever you want to call it, a couple of weeks early to make those practices up or something. But I would be surprised if we see spring games on any level close to what we typically think of as a spring game. I think you could just pretty much hang that up.
I think the more, I'm not going to say critical thing, but the more interesting thing will be what, if anything at all, they do for the current seniors that are missing out, like on the March Madness guys.
Oh,
the baseball guys, the softball gals,
Yeah.
all those spring sports that these guys literally, for a lot of these kids, this will be their last time to play their specific sport ever.
Yeah.
Unless they play in some adult rec league, 20 years down the road.
I mean, I've read some articles and posts and things like that of people suggesting maybe they give all seniors athletes affected by what's going on an extra year of eligibility, but I haven't heard or seen anything official along those lines. Like, I haven't seen anything where the NCAA has come out and said we're considering doing A, B, or C, but I have heard a lot of talk or chatter about what you just said. Maybe they should consider doing that kind of thing. So
that's a whole different animal there, because if you do that, then that's going to affect the incoming freshmen, would it not? Scholarship limits and such and whatnot. So it's just a big mess.
It's a giant. We're sports focused here for obvious reasons right now because of the type of channel we run. But the domino effect from this thing, I find it hard to believe that there's anybody left that hasn't been affected by coronavirus, and that doesn't mean you have to have it, but. I think it was on the morning show last week. I said I went to the grocery store and there was no problems. They had plenty of toilet paper. They had this, they had that. I went yesterday. BVD actually called me while I was at the grocery store yesterday. I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable. I had to wait at the front of the grocery store for about 5 minutes for a Bucky. And there was nothing there. In the meat department, and I went to a Publix. At the meat department, they had a few packs of bone-in pork chops. They had a few really expensive steaks. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you they had nothing else. They did not have one single piece of chicken in no whole chickens, no chicken breasts, no cut-up whole chickens, no packs of legs, no packs of hindquarters, nothing, whatever you call it. Not one piece of chicken was to be found. Not one hamburger meat. The only hamburger meat in the entire store was in the frozen foods aisle, like a box of Bubba Burgers. They did have some of those. You know what I'm talking? Do they have that up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just pre-made, a box of pre-made hamburger patties. But in terms of like the actual meat department, zero hamburger meat.
So if you got several boxes of hamburger helper up in your cabinets and you have no hamburger meat, basically what you got for the next few weeks is macaroni and cheese.
Well, and
Period.
it's funny you mentioned that because you can tell that everybody that was at that store yesterday basically followed the same pattern. You go to the meat department, it's all gone. So you're like, okay, what's the next available option? Let me check frozen foods. So you go to frozen foods, a few things left, like a frozen lasagna. I think is pretty popular. You know, you buy that, it feeds 3 or 4 people. You just throw it in the oven. Whereas normally they might have 100 frozen lasagnas, they might have had 10. And then you say, okay, well, let me go check like the soup or all that out. You go to not a single pack of ramen noodles anywhere in the store. Then you go, well, sandwiches, plenty of lunch meat. Grab that, put it in the buggy, go to the bread. BVD, it was I'm not it's not like they were just out of sandwich bread. There wasn't a single pack of hot dog buns, not a single pack of hamburger buns. Even the weird bread, like the multi-grain wheat honey, blah, 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 nothing. Not a single, the only loaf of bread I was able to find in that entire store, I went back to the other side of the store where the deli is. The Publix has a deli where they make bread sometimes. They had 1 pack of loaf of Italian bread. I don't even know what that is, but I bought it. You know, no milk, no eggs. I had to, they had like 6 dozen or 6 things of organic eggs. So you know, so I paid like $8 for a dozen eggs.
Chickens and cows are going to be working overtime for the next few months.
I couldn't believe it. And then I remember making the comment a couple of days ago. I was like, well, even if they run out of toilet paper, I know this isn't ideal, but you could always just wipe your ass with napkins or paper towels. I mean, if you got down to where you really had to do that, clearly you would do that. Well, all that's gone too. I mean, not a single roll of toilet paper, not a single napkin, not a single paper towel. It was unbelievable. I have never seen anything like it in my life. And of course, all the grocery stores here now are cutting their hours, like Publix. Is cutting their hours. Walmart's nation. There are no 24-hour Walmarts anymore. BVD. That's over with. They're only
my
open.
daughter was telling me about that.
Yeah, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. They say they're closing for 2 reasons. One, it will give them a chance to restock as deliveries come in overnight. They can restock. And number 2, they're going to have cleaning teams come into all these places and thoroughly clean the stores at night without having to worry about working around customers and things like that. So if you don't know, if you're not directly affected, you were living off the grid to begin with if you haven't yet been affected by this coronavirus. It's just insane. There are some states, BVD, that have closed bars and restaurants totally. Every bar and restaurant in the state closed by order of the governor. I think Ohio did it, and a couple other places that have done it.
What are the barflies gonna do now? Holy God!
Man, that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, you always hear it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that even mean now?
Now, I still don't know anyone personally who has tested positive for the coronavirus. There's not
neither.
I don't think there are. I live in Augusta. If you're familiar with this area, that's the majority of Augusta is a 2-county area, Richmond County and Columbia County. And then you have what people call the greater Augusta area or the CSRA, the Central Savannah River area. And that encompasses maybe 4 or 5 other counties. But the 2 main counties that make up Augusta, Richmond County and Columbia County, there are 0 confirmed cases. But, of course, most of you are aware of the testing situation, which is that there isn't one. So there are probably people here with the coronavirus, but no one has tested positive for it yet. But I don't know how long that will last. But they canceled all the Lou Jr. started soccer a couple of weeks ago. They've canceled that now. They did not cancel my kid's school, which surprised me. But they sent out an email yesterday saying if any parent chooses to keep their kid home, the absences will not count against them in any type of way, and the kids will be given an opportunity to make up the work, yada, yada, yada. So we sent our kids to school today, but I think they're going to cancel it any day. They're working on this website where kids can do their schoolwork from home, And when you read the email, it sort of sounds like that website is not fully up and running yet. Like we're working on it. We've almost got it completed, blah, blah. So I have a feeling as soon as that website is up and running, they're probably going to go ahead and cancel school here too. So I'll keep an eye on that.
How many cases are in Georgia that you're aware of?
I really don't. I can find out, but
I've got this website. Carter sent me a couple of days ago, the Coronavirus Update Live. And I just clicked on that to see if there was any updates, and it's shut down. The site is shut down.
45.
Totally not even joking.
I found a site here run by the CDC website, and they have an interactive map, and you can hover over a state, and it'll tell you. So,
what do you got for Tennessee there?
This says cases reported 18.
18. Okay. For some reason I was thinking 19, but does it break that down, or does it just give the state total?
Let me click on the state and see what happens.
If you could drop the link to that site.
Yeah.
Here
you go. I clicked on the state and nothing really happened, but I'm gonna post this link I'm posting now. It does have a map, and you can hover over the state, and it'll tell you how many confirmed cases in that.
Snake, to answer your question, the last on this website I was looking at, the last confirmed cases on that one was 156,785. But it stayed that way on that website for several days. So I don't know if the website had just crashed or what.
It's just it's almost impossible to wrap your head around, like this is
stuff we hear about, Lou.
Yeah.
That you read about and hear about in other countries.
Yeah.
That you never suspect would happen here.
And for the conspiracy nuts, this is the perfect storm, because there's only two possibilities. Number one, it gets really, really bad, in which case the conspiracy nuts can say, see, we told you, this man-made virus, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to depopulate, whatever. Or nothing happens at all, and then the conspiracy nuts can go, see, this was just a trial run of how easy it would be for the government to shut everything down when there was nothing really wrong to begin with, and blah, blah, blah. So, but that is an interesting argument that is never going to go away. The people who think the virus is some sort of hoax or man-made type thing for nefarious purposes or whatever, if we shut all this stuff down and nothing happens, they're going to say, see, I told you. But how do you know that the reason nothing happened isn't because we shut all this stuff down? There's never really going to be a way. There's never really going to be a way to prove that, right? Now, all the states and the government officials, if this thing doesn't blow up and get crazy, they're going to say, look at, they're going to be patting themselves on the back. Look how many we saved lives. It didn't get bad because we shut everything down, type of thing. I don't know the answers to that, but it's just an interesting. It's going to be one of those conspiracy things that just never goes away. But we'll see. But
does this end up in our history books, do you think?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's to the point now where it almost has to.
Yeah. All the things just completely shutting and closing down is just unreal.
Hey, look, anything that shuts Walmart down.
Yeah.
Even for 6 or 8 hours a day is, that's news.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's hard to. All the sports canceled. All these any gatherings. A lot of these states, like no gatherings of 50 or more people. A lot of churches won't have service.
Mm-hmm.
It's just schools shutting down and bars and restaurants, concerts canceled. It's weird. It's just, and you look at what's going on in Italy, and you go, well, we don't want that here. So I don't know. I mentioned this guy the other day. This is the guy I listen to, this Dr. Fauci guy. And if you watch any news about the coronavirus at all, you know who this guy is. He's about 4 feet tall. But he's the director at the National Institute of Health in charge of infectious diseases. And he's Trump handpicked all these people to sort of be in charge of the corona team or whatever for him. He's the doctor that Trump picked. When this guy talks, I listen. He doesn't. I told y'all the other day, he's not one of the people that's like screaming from the mountaintops that you better wrap yourself in a bubble because 1 million people are about to die. He's not that guy. And he's also not the guy saying this is a hoax, this will be over in 10 days, nothing to see here. He seems to strike a pretty good balance of telling you need to be worried, you need to take precautions, you need to change your lifestyle. It's not going to be easy. It's going to get worse. Like you said a minute ago, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But if we do these things, it will drastically reduce the number of cases, the number of deaths. It'll reduce the possibility that hospitals get overrun. And if you listen to him talk with an open mind, regardless of which side of the corona thing you're on, if you're somebody that thinks it's totally being overblown, or if you're somebody that thinks it's the end of the world, watch or listen to Dr. Fauci talk with an open mind. And I think if you're on either extreme of this argument, I think listening to him with an open mind will bring you closer to the center of, okay, this is a big deal, but it's not the end of the world. I do need to change some things I'm doing temporarily or whatever. I just think and I'm not in the habit of praising Donald Trump, but he picked a winner with this guy, in my opinion. The guy, he really seems to know what he's talking. Like I said, he's the leading expert in the United States on infectious diseases. That's what this is. And when he talks, he just makes sense. And a lot of doctors, BVD, when they talk, especially on TV, and because a lot of times these people aren't used to being on TV. They're used to being doctors. And so you listen to a lot of these people talking like you don't even understand every other word they say, and they're it's making no sense. It's going over your head. And that's not this guy. He does a great job of explaining to where any idiot, including me, is able to pretty easily understand sort of what he's saying.
So what is the Lou household doing right now to protect yourselves, to ward off any potential trouble? Has anything changed in the way you guys are going about your daily lives?
We nothing drastic. Now, most of the stuff that we've changed so far has been not our option. Like my daughter did have that dance thing this weekend. I was kind of surprised that didn't get canceled. For those that have never had a child or known anybody that has a child that does this competitive dance, the way this stuff works, they practice year-round, 2 or 3 days a week. But there's only a couple of times during the year where they actually go out and perform. Mm-hmm. And this happens to be that time of year. This past weekend was their first competition. Then they had one scheduled for this coming weekend and the next weekend. There's like a 6-week period that started this last weekend and runs through like the end of May. And that's when they do all their competitions. Outside of that, they're just practicing all the time. So they did the first one this past weekend, but now all the ones in the foreseeable future have been canceled. So dance is over. Lou Junior soccer is over. Today will probably be, I think we're probably, we talked about this as parents last night, me and Mrs. Lou, and probably a lot of parents across America had a similar conversation last night. What should we do? What should we do? Should we be sending our kids to school? I don't know. It makes it easy when the county calls me and says soccer is canceled. Then I don't have to decide then should I send Alex to soccer? Should I send my daughter to dance? The decision's taken out of my hands, which on one hand sucks, but on the other hand, it makes it easier for me. I don't have an option at that point. But the schools have put it in the parents' hands here. Now, like I said, I think it's because that website's not ready, and as soon as that website is ready, I think they're going to shut everything down. But as of right now, it's the parents' option. So what we decided to do, we sent them to school today because according to the email, all their teachers are going to explain to them how this website works, how they need to log into it from home. how the whole sort of school from home thing is going to work. And so we decided to send them today. We told them, hopefully you're paying attention in school every day, but make sure you pay special attention tomorrow. Because we're not going to be able to help you with the logins and the stuff like that. You've got to get, so get whatever you need, pay attention today. And so but I think if they come home today and they've got all the information they need about this learn from home thing, today will probably be the last day they go to school between now and spring break, which here is still 3 weeks away. They have 3 weeks of school and then spring break.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, the problem is, once we as parents make the decision to keep them home, when do you send them back? So how long is this going to last? I don't know. No one knows. I don't know. But I'm planning on, once they start doing the learn from home thing, I'm planning on that lasting at least through their spring break week, which, like I said, they still have 3 weeks of school left before the spring break week. So they would be home for a month. And we had to tell them to, BVD, can you imagine if you were 8, 9, 10, 11 years old and you found out there was a chance in the middle of the school year that school was going to get canceled for a month? How excited you would be.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an extra summer in the middle of the year or whatever. And so, but we had to tell them, listen, it's still going to be regular bedtimes. Mom and dad still have to go to bed when they go to bed, and they still have to get up in the morning when they get up. You still have to do schoolwork during the day. Just because you can do it at home on your computer doesn't mean you're not doing schoolwork. So it's not going to be like a summertime where you're staying up till 11 or 12 and sleep until 10 and 11. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that pans out and works out. But that's where we're leaning now. We're going to talk to them when they come home from school today. The other question, they might go to school today and look around and there's 5 people in their class instead of 25. I would
imagine that's probably going to be the case.
Yeah. I think a lot of it will depend on people's work situation. If you, depending on the age of your child, if you make the decision to keep them home, somebody's got to be home with them.
Yeah, a lot of people depend on school to be their daycare.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's just a giant mess, but most likely we will keep them home after today, would be my guess. I believe what most experts are saying, that most people who get this thing will be fine, like 99.9999, whatever it is. And the thing that I get from it is that it's just very contagious and very deadly to old people, especially elderly people with these underlying conditions. And almost all, I started thinking about, well, what elderly people do we know that my kids would be likely to be around? And almost every single person we could think of had one of those underlying conditions that can be extremely deadly should that person catch coronavirus. So, my daughter could get it, and maybe it's like a cold or a flu and she's over it in 5 days or whatever it is. Great. But what if during those 5 days she passes it to one person or 10 people, and one of those people is not as healthy and young as she is? So I guess that's the issue with keeping kids home. Yeah, they would probably be fine if they got it, but then what if they spread it to all these other people or whatever? So I don't know. It's a big giant mess. The stock market's going to take another giant dump today. I tell
you whose opinion we should get on this.
That SALEEN driver?
Our boy, SALEEN driver.
Yeah, he's down in Florida. He was actually the first person I saw post about the Walmart closings from 11 at night to 6 in the morning or whatever. Let's do this. Let me read the super chats that have come in, and then we will add Mr. SALEEN driver, sir. We will add the birthday. We will add the birthday boy. Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, you should change your number. Glad you're able to stream with us this morning, and good morning, BVD. Thank you for the super chat, Waikiki. Daniel D, when you didn't live stream, I thought you was locked up. No, was not locked up. My phone died, actually. I was on the phone with BVD. That was the issue. I I mentioned this because it doesn't have anything really to do with the story, but I was on the phone with BVD in the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't find a gas station. I was literally in the middle of nowhere in South Georgia, and I kept telling B, my phone's going to die. I'm going to be stuck out here. And that I did end up finding a gas station, but my phone did die. So that was the issue with that. Slim Shady, thank you for the super chat, sir. The NBA season is shut down due to a virus that nobody wants to catch. It's the same plot of Space Jam in real life. I've heard a lot of people with the Space Jam comparisons. Did you ever see that movie, BVD?
Many moons ago.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it. Obviously, I mean, I know what it is, the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan and, from outer space and all that. But I don't think it's probably the type of thing where I've probably seen the entire movie, but I've just never seen it all at once from start to finish. I've seen 30 minutes of it here or 10 minutes of it there or whatever, but I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched the entire
I think
Space
it's actually
Jam
the
movie.
other way around for me. I think I saw the entire movie when it first came out. Not in theaters, but when it was first available at home, and then I've never seen 5 seconds of it since then, other than commercials and stuff. I couldn't even tell you the daggone plot behind it, other than what you just said.
Yeah,
Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan.
What I said about it is about all I had forgotten. Now this comment that Slim Shady says about the virus and all that in the movie, I had completely forgotten that was a part of the movie. But I know enough and have seen enough of the movie that, because I've seen a lot of these similar comments to that with the Space Jam, and so that I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that was part of the Space Jam movie. Michael Gill, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, good morning, my fellow degenerates. Yeah, good morning. Sign me up. No argument here. No argument here at all. I don't know BVD. BVD's not a degenerate, but I am.
I think I might be, since I'm older than you, Lou. I might be head degenerate.
Yeah,
Of course, that would make SALEEN Driver corporal or captain degenerate.
I don't think you're a degenerate, sir. You're a scholar and a gentleman. In fact, I'm willing to bet you pay your taxes and vote Republican too.
You're half right.
SALEEN Driver, thank you for the super. And you know what? I honestly have no clue which half it might be. both are either is likely and possible. SALEEN Driver, thank you for the super chat, sir. Listening to Dr. Fauci is the smartest thing now. Yeah, I'm serious about the Dr. Fauci thing. And Google him or whatever. If these press, I don't know what I don't think there's like certain times he comes on to give his updates or whatever. But if you're somebody that wants to. Anyway, I would encourage people to listen to what Dr. Fauci has to say. I'm very confused about the situation, and it's not like I listen to Dr. Fauci and I'm like, oh, I totally get it now, because he doesn't totally get it. But that's what I like about him. He doesn't BS you. He straight up tells you, I don't care what the numbers say about confirmed cases. There are more people than that walking around with it. Does that mean that everyone's going to get it and die? No. I mean, he's honest with you, as honest as he can be. And when there's something he doesn't know, he tells you. And he's where I got the curve example thing from that I talked about last week. If you look at Italy, it went from almost nobody sick, and then almost overnight, it just shot way up. And they don't have the equipment, the personnel, the ventilators, the respirators to take care of that number of sick people at the same time. And so his plan in the United States, he'll tell you, he said, look, there is no plan to keep this thing away. It's coming. The only thing we can do is, instead of having the curve that shoots straight up and straight down to where the hospitals are maxed out, we have to take that curve, flatten it, and widen it out. Instead of everyone getting sick over a 2-week period, we need everyone to get sick over a 2-month period where the hospitals can handle this. So he's honest about it. And when he doesn't know something, he tells you. I don't know how many people have it because we don't have enough tests. I'm just telling you we don't. That's what he tells, he'll tell you that. He said, and it's going to get worse. The numbers are going to go up. As more people get tested, more people are going to come back positive. More people are going to die. He's honest with you, but if he doesn't know something, he tells you. I would just encourage anyone who has any questions. Like I said, even if you're an extremist in this situation where this thing's totally fake and made up, or you're like a doomsday prepper, just listen to him with an open mind and see if it doesn't pull you a little bit closer to the center. That's all I'm saying. So, Shane Bentley, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, I work in primary care clinic, and we've been relaying to patients to stay home if the symptoms are manageable. A huge concern is making the doctor's office a breeding ground. And Dr. Fauci will tell you the same thing there. Don't just show up at a doctor's office or an emergency room. Call first. Because
that's the last thing you want to do anyway.
Exactly what he just said, because you're going to, people are going to get nervous, and then there'll be 500 people waiting in the emergency room because they're coughing. And maybe 2 of those people have coronavirus. It's going to take forever for them to get seen because there's 500 people there. Only 2 of them have it. But then they're going to spread it to half of the other 500 just while they're waiting in the emergency room. So, yeah, good point there. Good point there, Shane. I didn't know you worked in a primary care office. That's good. So, BVD, let's say I had the birthday boy in that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that and that. Let's see what he's up to today. He's alive, ain't he? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I've seen him lurking around the comments. He's alive.
He's in good shape.
Good morning.
Yeah, in fact, it is a pretty good morning, SALEEN driver, and happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you. Every day above ground is a great day.
That's right. Now,
that's a natural fact right there.
What did you? I'm always curious here. Now you have a birthday.
Yes,
you have a birthday that falls on a Monday. Okay.
Yes.
So, do you celebrate your birthday today? Do you celebrate it this past weekend? Do you wait until next weekend? What, and I don't even know what you do to celebrate. Like, all we do here, we go out to eat. Like, so it doesn't even matter whose birthday it is. It's such and such birthday. All right, well, we'll see you at the Mexican restaurant at 8:00. Like, it's just set in stone. That's just what we do. So, what did you do to celebrate your birthday, sir?
Well, first of all, before I do that, I am 55 years old today. I'm not shy about my age.
55.
I'm not vain about it. I am 55. So, and I'm still going, still happy. Let's see. Last night, my mom, my dad, my 2 girls, and I just went out to dinner. Nice dinner together. They gave me some presents. My folks gave me a watch.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
My younger daughter gave me a sweatshirt from the college she goes to.
Nice.
And my older daughter gave me a book, which was really nice. It was kind of a cute book. And we just had a nice dinner together. And and today my daughters are taking me to lunch at one of my favorite lunch places around here called Anna's Deli.
Nice.
And I think if they're open, we're going to go out to dinner tonight. Me and my daughters and my older daughter's boyfriend will probably try to go to Cheesecake Factory if they're open. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Who knows? Oh, by the way, Lou, I was on when you said all the things you said about me. You flatter me, sir. I appreciate the kind words about what you said about me. I appreciate that. The one thing I've always wanted to be to you and BVD is the one rational Florida fan that would always tell you the truth, good, bad, or indifferent, about the team, and extending that to the rest of life, if you will. So,
Right.
I'm glad that you see what I was trying to do, and you flatter me, sir.
And I'll continue along those same lines here. I didn't tell people you were 55. I waited for you to tell them. But I'm being honest, and I'm not just saying this to blow smoke or whatever. But honestly, sir, I've met you in real life. For those watching that might not know, I've met him in real life. And I'm here to tell you, you don't look a day over 53.
But well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. But I do have all my teeth except Well, no, I have 2 teeth missing. They were pulled, but I still have most of my teeth. So
Well,
I'm
give
happy
it
about
time.
that. You know,
Anyway,
but I'm still a little depressed that I'm older than BVD. But I'll learn to handle it someday. You know.
yeah.
Hey, at least you got your teeth.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
Uh,
without
hmm,
it's up to you.
sure.
I know both your daughters are in college. I know where they go.
Yeah.
You didn't mention it just now, and you don't have to. Are their colleges open or closed now, though?
No, I'll mention it. My older daughter is just about to graduate from the University of Florida. I am a proud Gator dad as well as a proud alum. She will be graduating to become a teacher, though she has to take 1 year of a master's program to get fully certified and do all the things she has to do. We're worried that her graduation ceremony, which will happen on May 2nd, is probably going to be canceled. And that sucks for her because she was really looking forward to walking the stage and doing all the things that graduates do. But she will graduate.
I wonder if they will give graduates the option to, go ahead and get their degree and all that, but if they want to then come back in December and just walk. I wonder if they would
She
give them
was
the
actually
option.
joking about that last night at dinner. She was saying, "Damn it, I'm going to show up at the December graduation and I'm going to walk across the stage whether they like it or not." So
Yeah,
this is one determined little spitfire. She is.
yeah. And their
My
their
youngest,
classes are open or closed, you said?
right now, the University of Florida is completely shut down. They're going to be doing all their classes online,
Okay.
which my daughter was already doing all her classes online anyway, pretty much all that. My younger daughter goes to Santa Fe College, and also in Gainesville. Their daughters actually live together. She goes to Santa Fe. I mean, she's a really a very bright girl, but like her father, she was a bit of a lazy student, and her grades could have gotten her into UF, but her SAT score couldn't have done it. So she's going to do 2 years at Santa Fe and transfer up.
Oh, nice.
And she's a freshman, and her campus is also shut down. And they're doing all online classes, and they're actually heading back to Gainesville tomorrow because all their stuff is up there. They have a couple of pets up there. So nothing down here for them to keep them here, so they have to go back up there anyway. But
Right.
well, I always told them they're always welcome to come back here and hunker down at the old man's house, or if they really want to, they can go to the mom's house. Deal with her and her boyfriend, but that's
Yeah.
a whole nother subject.
Now, I know your daughters are older in college age, but do you happen to know what the public school situation is in the town you live in? Is it open or
Yes,
closed?
yeah, they're shut down too.
Okay.
All the in Florida, all counties are districts. So you live in county. If you live in Dade County, you're in the Dade County School District. I don't. I actually still speak English, but another story. So all 67 school districts in the state are shut down until the end of March was the last announcement. So they're going to clean all the schools and do whatever they're going to do. And they've gone to online classes. And I'm pretty sure all the younger children's parents are freaking out because now they've got elementary and secondary kids staying home. And now they've got to scramble and figure out how they're going to work if they're still able to go to work and take care of their kids at the same time. So that's going to be, I don't have this problem, obviously, but I'm sure a lot of people around my state, around the country are going to have that same problem.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about Fauci because I have my father, who's thank God, still with us, is a retired diagnostic radiologist, and he doesn't know Fauci directly, but he knows him indirectly. He went into it last night. I don't know exactly. Um, he says that pretty much Fauci is the only source of solid. Them and the CDC
Right.
he's the only really sane, solid voice in the wilderness, if you will. What my father is saying is, if you listen to him, you're going to get a lot more good information than bad, because and my father is saying constantly, there is so much bad information running around and floating around, especially at the media level. And we went into a discussion about what the media is trying to do here, and I won't go into that because there are different viewpoints out there in the chat room, and I don't want to aggravate anybody. But he says that a lot of what's circulating out there is overblown, and listening to Fauci is probably your best bet in terms of getting a decent level of truth, even though there's probably a bit of hyperbole coming out of Fauci as well. I mean, he's human after all, but Fauci is probably the one. And so what you're saying, Lou, is good information. Listening to him, no matter which side of the extreme you're on, listening to him will bring you back to the center and give you a good dose of sanity. So that was really a good statement on your part.
Yeah, and I'm not asking people to just blindly accept everything he says as the gospel, but sort of one of the reasons I really do at least take into account everything he says is because he doesn't pretend to have all the answers. There are lots of things where he says we don't know, or I don't know, or we won't know that for, and blah blah blah. So, and that's hard for people to do sometimes. It's hard for people a lot of times to, especially here you have a guy who's supposed to be the leading expert in this field or whatever. It's got to be hard for somebody like that to admit, hey, listen, there's some things I just don't know. But he'll do that. And
I have more respect for anyone, man or woman, that I know or I just met who is willing to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would rather you tell me I don't know than to blind me with BS.
Right.
If you song and danced me and you turns out later that you did that, I have lost all respect for you.
Yeah.
Like you said, some of the hardest phrases in the world to say are "I'm sorry" and "I don't know."
Yeah.
And if you as a human being have the ability to do that and mean it, then you're a much better person than anyone else out there.
Yeah.
I forgive yous up there too, SALEEN. That's one of those tough ones for a lot of people.
Absolutely, BVD. Absolutely, you forgot about that one.
Mike Taylor in the comments a few minutes ago made an interesting comment, and he might be onto something. Of course, the economy has taken a huge hit. A lot of people are out of work. It could lead to layoffs down the road. It could lead to some businesses going out of business, whatever. He made a comment a few minutes ago. A good line of work to get into right now would be babysitting. Probably a very lucrative industry right now.
Yeah, my my older daughter said the same thing last night.
Yeah. There was another conversation going on a few minutes ago too in the comment section about tattoos. I think it's still going on. I haven't been able to follow it really, but I am curious though. And before anyone answers, I'm going to take my own guesses here, and the comment section can join in here too on these guesses. But we're going to guess: does SALEEN Driver or BVD have any tattoos? Yes or no? And if so, how many? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that SALEEN Driver does not have any tattoos. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go against my gut and say that BVD also doesn't have any tattoos. Now, give the comment section a few seconds before you guys just answer right away. I'll read another super chat, but I want you guys to
Melissa May is giving a little bit too much information on where she was never going to get a tattoo.
Oh,
we appreciate that, Melissa, but TMI, baby, TMI. Come on now.
Waikiki, it's good to see you in here. Good to see you in here this morning, and I'm not going to say anything other than what I'm about to say, but he sent me an email over the weekend in regards to that situation, and it was probably the most. I probably got close to 100, and I appreciate them all, but it was definitely the most profound. So, and I thanked you in an email, Waikiki, but I'm thanking you again now. Are there any NFL players you're watching this week during free agency? No. I can answer that easily. What about, I know SALEEN driver's answer too. What about you, BVD? Any free agency news you want to give us this
No,
morning?
I'm still a free agent.
Okay.
So.
I did read over the weekend that your hometown team, BVD, not that you're a fan of your hometown team because, well, you aren't, but the Tennessee Titans did re-sign Ryan Tannehill to
Yeah, I saw
an
that last night too.
overblown contract for no reason. So the Tom Brady sweepstakes is out the window, at least in terms of him ending up at the Tennessee Titans, which seemed to be one of the possible destinations for him should he leave the Patriots. So that's out the window now. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it that much. I'm friends with a lot of Tennessee Vol fans, obviously, on Facebook and stuff, and I saw a lot of them posting about the Ryan Tannehill thing. That's the only reason I even know about that. So I think Tom Brady is like the biggest free agency story of the offseason, but I have no clue what's going to happen with that. As a very casual NFL fan, I sort of hope he stays at the Patriots. I know you don't ever see this anymore, but I just kind of like the idea of a real legend like that just starting and ending in the same place. You don't see it much. I mean, even Joe Montana ended up at the Chiefs, but Brett Favre bounced around.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say if Tom Brady ends up on the Bucs, he's pissed away his legacy, or a good chunk of it.
Yeah,
I don't know about pissing away his legacy. My gut feeling is he's going to stay right where he is, but if he does go anywhere else, I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere that's got at least a 50-50 shot of making it to the Super Bowl next year.
The Bucs have no shot at making it to the Super Bowl. No shot.
Yeah, that's
they are a washed up waste of a team. And as long as they have Jameis Winston as the quarterback, they'll remain that way. Even if they brought Brady in to play, it's a 2 to 3 year rebuild program on the Bucs. They are wasted, and the owner of the Bucs is.
That's the beauty of
the money.
That's the beauty of free agency, and you just kind of answered sort of where I was going with this. If you've got a GM that's willing to spend what money the team does have available, you don't have to have a 2 or 3 year rebuild in the NFL. Look at the Niners.
Well,
they're a prime example of that.
The GM of the Bucs would spend the money. The owner won't. The owner's a tight ass.
Yeah, not a good business to be a tight ass in.
No.
Not if you're after rings, anyways.
I think Brady should stay where he is, retire as a Patriot, retire with some dignity, and stop chasing. I mean, the man, between him and his wife, have more money than their family could spend in 3 lifetimes. What are you chasing? You're 5-6 times Super Bowl champ. You're an MVP. You've been in the league. You've outlasted every one of your peers in the league. You've achieved everything in the no fun league that there is to achieve, except maybe God could. What point are you trying to prove, sir?
I agree with that basic sentiment, but I always try to remind myself, like, take Tom Brady. What is he? 42. When did he start playing football? The age of 7 or 8, probably. So he's played football every single year for the last 35 years. Most people watching right now aren't 35 years old. So he has played football every. So if the Patriots come to him and say, "Listen, we're going a different direction," it's got to be hard to just walk away. We see it all the time. Athletes, most of them end up sticking around a year or two too long, and they're terrible, and they end up getting hurt, and you hate to see that, but it has got anything you do for 35 years straight is hard to quit, whether it's a good or bad. Drink for 35 years and try to quit. Smoke for 35 years and try to quit. I'm not comparing football to addictions or anything like that, but you know, when you've been doing something for that long, it's got to be hard to just walk away. I think the fairy tale thing that everybody wants to see, I think everyone would agree that's really what you want to see, but I don't know which way it's going to go. We're going to answer the tattoo question here. I'm going to read some of the comments that came in about who has tattoos and who doesn't, and then we'll get BVD and SALEEN Driver to hit us
Some
with the
interesting
huge,
insight too.
we'll get you
Yeah, I
guys
saw
can hit us
some
with
of
the
them.
huge reveal, but Philip Lynn says he's probably never getting a tattoo. Melissa May says I don't have any. Jeff Webster says BVD has mom on his left chest. Jordan Bowman has no tattoos. Let me see. Richard Holton is saying no tattoos for either of you. Chess Hall says BVD has at least one tattoo. Slim Shady says BVD has a Power T tramp stamp, which, of course, if you don't know what that is, that's the thing that girls get right above their waist in the middle of their back. BVD has a West Virginia tattoo. Okay. Chess Hall has 3 tattoos. Ted McMayer says BVD has a tat. Louis says SALEEN, 1 tattoo. BVD, 0 tattoos. That's an interesting guess there.
Oh, my.
Mitch All Day says, I'm going to go with 2 tattoos amongst the 3 of you. Okay. At BVD, you have mom over your heart, don't you? Some people, it seems like this might be something BVD has revealed in the past. I'm not sure. Brian says Dan Mullen has a tattoo. Another one saying you have a tramp stamp with a Power T. BVD wants one on his back, a big T. But now they're talking about Tom Brady now, so I probably missed a few. But so anyway, time for the big reveal, though. Let's start with SALEEN Driver, since you're the birthday boy today. Now, I'm guessing you didn't run straight out to the tattoo parlor this morning and get a giant 55 tattooed on your chest or whatever,
no.
but do you have any tattoos?
Okay, what I'm going to say to you is 100% very, very serious, and it'll tell you why I do not have any tattoos on me, and I never will. Many years ago, when I was much younger, and my paternal grandmother, my Nana, was still alive, and she was one of the folks that escaped Germany in the 30s when Hitler was coming to power, and she made me promise her that I would never get a tattoo on my body ever, because as we all know, the Germans tattooed all the Jews that they sent to the camps.
Yeah.
On their forearms, they tattooed them with a number. And when she told me that story, that shook me down to the very, very core. And that story has stuck with me for 40-odd years. When she told me about that, and she told me the history behind it. And so I promised her, and I will never, ever have a tattoo, ever. And I will do my very best to make sure that my children don't either.
All right. So I was right about you. No tattoos.
Yeah. No, I can't.
Yeah.
I absolutely can't. I mean, to
I
do
understand.
that would be
Yeah.
to break a solemn promise to my Nana.
Right.
I won't do that.
And BVD.
I was pretty spot on. I kind of figured SALEEN didn't have any tattoos. As much as I preach about how much I can't stand tattoos, and have done it multiple times on my live stream, I'm actually surprised that people think I have tattoos. Now, some of the guesses are funny. And sorry to disappoint people. No, I don't have a Power T tramp stamp. But I actually do have 2 tattoos. I do. They're very small. I have one on each arm. The first one I ever got was a Tennessee football helmet. And the other one, I literally lost a friggin' bet and had to go get a tattoo. So I got my, I think it's, I don't know, Japanese or I think it's a Japanese zodiac symbol on my right arm, and it's very small. Nothing. And I really wish I didn't have either one of those because I think tattoos nowadays, there's nothing unique about them. Everybody has one. Back in the day, if you got tattoos, it was to have something unique, having a tattoo now, if you don't have any tattoos, you're unique. And that,
Yeah.
that applies to men and women, but I don't have anything against people that do have tattoos.
Yeah,
I mean,
and to be clear, I don't have anything against tattoos. I don't have anything against people who do them. Different strokes, different folks, et cetera, et cetera. This is my choice based on personal preference and a promise I made to a beloved relative. But I don't begrudge anyone having one. I don't think you're stupid. I don't think you're disgusting. Unless you cover every inch of your body and then you shave your teeth down and look like an animal or something like that. That's maybe a little crazy, but
I'll say this, Celine, that
Shave your teeth
and
down.
people that get their face tattooed to me are stupid.
yeah,
I'll say that. I mean, to each his own. I get it. Unless you're in some African tribe or some jungle tribe where that's part of their culture, these guys that go out and get their faces tattooed and I don't get that one. I'll never
like
get that one.
The Maori tribes in the Pacific Islands and that sort of thing, where that's part of their culture. Okay, I get that, but somebody from the trailer park down the road getting their face inked up in multicolor, just because whatever. And you wonder why nobody will hire you.
Well, what about Uncle Lou?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
what
ask.
about Uncle Lou? I think one.
I
I don't know why.
I'm thinking I'm thinking three.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see anyone I met you, Lou, but I'm thinking two or three. There's got to be two or three there somewhere.
Yeah, I have three.
Damn.
Yeah. And I sort of agree with what y'all are saying. I don't really care what anybody chooses to tattoo on their body or where they choose to put it, but those people also should not be surprised when they're not called back after a lot of job interviews.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it matters as much in this day and age, depending on, obviously if you're at Burger King trying to get a job as a fry cook, and nothing against Burger King fry cooks, I don't think they give a shit. But
yeah, I mean
I guess
anything
something
customer
Burger King
facing,
makes
anything where you're going to be dealing face to face with I mean, you're not going to get a job as a bank teller with a bunch of tattoos on your face and neck. It's just not going to happen.
yeah, that's not happening.
No.
So
But maybe if you have a big old sleeve on your arm, you can just wear a jacket or a long sleeve shirt, and nobody will know.
I mean, I've
There you
always
go.
said, for me personally, and like if I could choose for my kids to make decisions down the road, please, for me anyway, don't get a tattoo anywhere that anybody can see should they meet you and you're wearing shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt. That's my opinion. I know forearm tattoos are popular, and I don't have anything wrong with it. It's just me personally.
Yeah.
Even you get a tattoo or something on your wrist. Yes, that's you put on a suit or something that's covered up, but you go to shake somebody's hand, the suit rides up, whatever the case. So that would just be my preference. If I could pick, would I jump off a bridge if my kid came home at 18 with a tattoo? No. As long as it's somewhere that can be easily covered up under normal circumstances and situations. I don't care about going to the beach and you're running around and, okay, fine, you got a tattoo on your back. That's fine. I have one on my back. I have one on each upper arm, and I have one on one of my back shoulder blades. But so I don't judge anybody who has them or chooses to get them or whatever, where they're at. But I just think you have to be realistic that there are certain repercussions that are likely to come along with that should you choose to get tattoos in a visible place like your forehead or the inside of your lip.
Yeah, my daughter has one tattoo on her wrist, and I tried to talk her out of it, but she has one very small one on her wrist on the inside, and it's my father's death date, and she's got it in her head that she wants to get another one, and I'm trying my best to talk her out of it. But I even told her, I said, look, all right, if you want to get another tattoo, obvious she's 19, I can't tell her she can't. I said, let's go get one together so it will be something meaningful. And of course, some of the things she's wanting to get, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Um, so I'm doing my best to talk her out of it. But ultimately, like you said, what are you going to do?
Right.
No, you can't. You know,
Chess Hall makes an interesting point too. Tattoos should have a special meaning. I sort of agree with that too, but again, I think that's a personal thing. But so of my 3 tattoos, the first one I got was literally because getting tattoos was cool at the time. All my friends were getting tattoos. I decided one day I wanted one. I went to whatever tattoo shop, picked out some cool design off the wall, and said, yeah, put that on my arm. I do regret that tattoo, not because of where it is or whatever, but because it means absolutely nothing to me. It's some sort of Celtic symbol or shield or something, but it means absolutely nothing to me on a personal level. I literally just thought the picture of the tattoo looked cool on the wall in the tattoo shop and said, yes, give me that. So I do
so
regret that
why
one.
did you get that one again? Because somebody else got one?
Well, yeah,
Or,
it wasn't even that one. It's just this was like I was probably 18 or 19, so this was in the late 90s. Tattoos were I mean, it was a fad then. Literally everyone was going. This is when the tramp stamp tattoo became popular for females. Literally everyone was getting tattoos. And Celtic sort of symbols and designs were popular tattoos to get at that time. But it doesn't mean anything to me outside of that. There's no story behind it. It doesn't represent anything, larger in my life or whatever. I
you
still
don't
think
have
I
a
still
G
think
on
it's.
you anywhere?
I've got a bulldog on
Okay.
on my back shoulder blade. The old school Georgia logo of the bulldog on all fours
Right.
with his head sort of looking out at you. Yeah, I have that one.
For some reason, I feel like you've had that in a video or something, maybe a picture of that. Am I
Well,
wrong?
when I do the Bob the Barner character, the Auburn character, he
Okay,
wears
that's it.
overalls, and so you can
Yep.
clearly see each tattoo on my upper arm in those videos. And I do think there are portions of some of the Auburn videos where I turn around a little bit, maybe when I'm raking or something like that,
That's probably it.
you can see the bulldog on my
Oh my
on my back.
God!
Yeah,
I swear to God above, I literally never noticed.
yeah,
I mean, I've seen plenty of the Bob the Barner videos. I literally never noticed the tattoo on you,
yeah,
sir. Now I'll never be able to unsee them, but I mean,
yeah,
I swear to you, I never saw them. I don't know, something wrong with me, man.
yeah. So
Trying to get
that's
my
my
eyes checked
tattoo
again.
stories.
Well, I mean, it's not your job. It's none of our job, Celine Driver, to scour Uncle Lou's body when he's wearing overalls, you
No,
know.
absolutely not. Absolutely
Right.
not. It does nothing for me in any
In fact,
aspect
I
of my
would
life.
think a lot less of you, had you brought that up. So good for you.
I think the first
Thank
time
you.
you could ever see
Jesus.
any of my tattoos on a video was the Aubrey Solomon commitment video where he chose Michigan over Georgia, and I took all my clothes off except my underwear out here in the garage and started screaming about Jim Harbaugh spend the night parties.
Oh,
You
dear
know,
God, I'm glad I didn't see that one.
maybe somebody in the comments can explain this to me. I just never have understood why people, um, why you would want, if you're going to get a tattoo, why would you get a tattoo like in the middle of your back where the only possible way you have of seeing it yourself is if you have somebody take a picture of it and show it to you? I mean, unless it's just purely for the art of it, or if
I
you're,
don't know.
a lot of guys go shirtless a lot in the summer, and they have the body to do that kind of thing. Maybe that,
Yeah, I did it because
but
it really accentuates my back muscles.
yeah.
If
First time ever we've heard the word accentuate used on the morning show.
Well, hashtag
and
professional.
hopefully the last time too. If I had to get a tattoo, somebody held a gun to my head and said, you got to have one. I know what it would be because it would mean something to me. It would be the Hebrew sign Chai, which is for life. you've probably seen people with necklaces that have that kind of looks like an upside down U with a little thingy attached to it. I would get one of those, and I would probably put it on either one of my shoulders, or maybe I don't know, maybe the forearm, but probably the shoulder. But that I couldn't see myself putting any other kind of tattoo on me except that, because that would mean something to me. Because I've had a necklace like that before. It was given to me by my grandparents. It was stolen, unfortunately, but that's the only one I would put on. But other than that, I'm gonna stay with the zero tattoos for the reason yes, Christy, it looks like a musical note in a way. That's true.
Solid Snake,
So-
thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, Happy National Corn Dog Day. Can anyone confirm? Is it National Corn Dog Day? I'm going to
I
take
have
his
no
word
idea.
for
I'm
it.
really not a big fan of corn dogs. So.
Yeah. No. Of course, LSU not able to celebrate because of mass gathering restrictions. So they're having to celebrate Corn Dog Day today in the privacy of their own home. The grocery store was even sold out of corn dogs, BBD. And I'm not joking. Yes, I talked about this earlier, all the stuff that was sold out, but my kids they love corn dogs, and with the possibility of them being home and not in school over a while, we have to come up with, there's things we have to buy that normally you wouldn't consider this time of year, but like, oh God, what are they going to eat for lunch every day? Oh, I get them some corn dogs. They were almost completely sold out of corn dogs. I usually get like the big box of State Fair corn dogs, that holds like 24 or whatever. Mm-hmm. All they had was the smaller packages of 6 corn dogs, and they only had like 6 packs of those left, and I didn't want to be the a-hole that bought them all, so I bought 2 of them. So we'll be eating some corn dog. In fact, I might eat a corn dog today for lunch now that I know it's National Corn Dog Day. So again, salute to Joe Brady for winning the national title last year, and good luck to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I may have to go out and grab a corn dog from somewhere today.
Yeah. Also in the news, Uncle Lou news, that is, my trip to New York is officially off, and I didn't have to make that decision either. Mrs. Lou is a DOD employee, and they are not allowed to travel at all, not even domestically.
Wow. Damn.
So the good news is, like an idiot. See, I bought these tickets the plane tickets back in January, and if you're familiar at all with buying plane tickets, there's a price that the tickets cost, and then you can pay an extra $150 or whatever, depending on how many tickets you buy, for like insurance. If you need to cancel for any reason, blah blah blah. And of course, why would we cancel? It's Masters Week. The kids are out of school. We've been to New York probably 6 times out of the last 10 years during Masters Week. Why would we cancel? Well, then here comes the coronavirus. But anyway, it's such a huge deal with these airlines that they're allowing you to. We bought through Delta. They're allowing you to. They're waiving change fees. So all we have to do is decide on another date, which will have to be in the summer, I guess. And so it looks like we'll probably still go. It just won't be in April. We'll have to postpone it to sometime in the summer, I guess. So that's off. And I'm disappointed, too. We don't get to see them very much. Mrs. Lou's sister, of course, lives up there with her husband, and they have a daughter. So my kid's cousin, who is about my son's age, they don't get to see them maybe but once a year if they're lucky. So disappointing that we won't get to see them. And I was going to go for the first time ever to Boston, which I was really looking forward to. We were going to be in New York for like 10 days, but we were going to take like 2 or 3 days in the middle of the trip and drive out to Boston for a couple of days, which I was really excited about. But
You would have
all
loved
that's
it.
off now. So
Boston's a great city to visit. You would have loved it.
I'm a history nerd, and I've been to Washington, D.C. and done that whole thing a couple of times, but there's lots of, I would love to go to Boston, Philadelphia, there's stuff like, places like that up there, and I just never, not all of it, not just because of history, but like I wanted to go to the Cheers restaurant or the Cheers bar or whatever it is and sit in Norm's chair, and different
I
things like that.
got to go to Boston again. I haven't been there since the early '90s. I've got to go there again at some point. Visit
Yeah.
some of the places that when I was a kid. Young kid. See if I remember them. I mean, everything looks so big to back then. I'm sure everything will look much different now. But I got to get back to Boston at some point. Catch a Bruins game.
Yeah, like even going to Fenway Park. I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone to a game that week, but I would have gone to Fenway Park and taken pictures, and then I can say I've been to Fenway Park. I did that with Yankee Stadium. I got lucky. One of the first few times I went to New York, they had already announced they were going to build a new Yankee Stadium. It hadn't been built yet, so I got to go to Yankee Stadium, not the new one, but the old one.
The real Yankee
the
Stadium.
real Yankee Stadium. Yeah, and I didn't go to a game. I don't, because I'm not a baseball fan. But if you're a sports fan, I mean, if you're, if you happen to find yourself in Green Bay, Wisconsin, you're probably going to go to Lambeau Field. I mean, so
oh yeah, for sure.
that was cool. I got to see Yankee Stadium before they tore it down, and it would have been cool to go see Fenway Park. And I've gotten a lot of emails and things over the last couple of months since I've been talking about this Boston trip from people who either have lived there at one time or had visited there or whatever. But America's oldest restaurant is in Boston, and it just happens to be an oyster place. And you guys know I love oysters. No one else in my family really likes them, but I had already had them convinced that we could go there and eat one day. And I'm sure they have chicken fingers or something y'all can eat. I want to go to the oldest restaurant and eat oysters. Type it. So anyway, we were already starting to plan out like all these things we wanted to do and all that, and it just sucks that we can't go. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not like I'm the only one who's having to change plans or rearrange their life some kind of way. It's like we talked about at the beginning. I find it hard to believe there's anybody left at this point who hasn't been affected some kind of way, even if it's not being able to buy toilet paper or whatever, by what's going on. It was funny in the press conference yesterday. Trump's response team or whatever holds a press conference every day at like 5 o'clock about the coronavirus. And sometimes Trump shows up for a few minutes and talks at the beginning, and sometimes he doesn't. He happened to show up yesterday, and he was giving his little speech thing at the beginning. And it's just funny to hear, and this isn't because it's a Trump thing. Some things are just funny because it's Trump to me. This has nothing to do with that. But it just was funny to me to hear a president of the United States begging people to stop buying so much toilet paper. Like, it's just, if I would have told you 6 months ago that Trump was going to give a press conference where he asked Americans to stop buying toilet paper, you would have, what? It's just funny that, like, and they had all the grocery store CEOs there or whatever, and, they're like, buy what you need for a week or two, fine, stop coming in and buying, 20 packs of 10 rolls each of toilet paper. Like, it wouldn't be a big deal if you just would come in and buy one or two. Then you'd be able to come back a week later and buy another one or two. But people are coming in and hoarding this stuff. And it's just funny to hear a president stand up with the, that big, whatever it is, that emblem or the presidential seal in the background and all that, and he's asking people not to buy toilet paper.
Yeah, the funny part, the best part about that, though, is at least you got a president who's willing to say that rather than, be direct and say something like that. Sound like a regular guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of some mealy mouth,
yeah,
ass-kissing politician.
I like how Trump handled the handshake situation too, because a big deal is made about everything any president of the United States does. But so they're telling everybody, don't shake hands, social distancing, stay 3 feet away, this whole thing. And then as they're, and this is the corona response team that's out telling everybody this, and this is over like a 30-minute press conference, and like 25 times over that 30 minutes, Trump shook someone's hand, touching the microphone, moving it around, and of course people made a big deal about it. So then the next day they asked Trump about it, and I thought he gave like you just said, a regular guy answer. He didn't go off on one of his half understandable rants or whatever. He just said, listen, I shouldn't have shaken all those hands, but it's habit. Someone walks up to you and sticks their hand out. What do? You don't even think about it. You stick your hand out. He's like, so, I'm asking Americans not to shake hands. I'm having to work on that too. It's not, I'm not.
It's Bump City.
It's just, and I thought he handled that the right way. I mean, it is. It's a habit, and habits are hard to form and hard to break. So it's easy to stand up there and tell people to stop shaking hands, but actually doing it is different. If I were to go somewhere right now and run into somebody I haven't seen in a while, and the first thing they did was stick their hand out, I would probably shake their hand out of just pure reflex and reaction. I know I'm not supposed to be shaking people's hands right now, but you don't think about that in the moment, and I thought it made perfect sense what he said. I'm trying not to shake hands, but come on, I'm 70 years old. I've been shaking hands forever. I'm trying to break the habit here. It's not easy.
Christy, you're better than that comment. Come on, girl. That's not nice.
What is it?
She said that Florida Gator shirts were moved to the TP section. Come on now. We all know that it's the Florida State shirts have been moved to the TP section. Get it right. Stop it.
You guys, do either of you guys watch, oh my God, and I can't believe I just totally drew a blank on his name. He's a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. Anyway, he made a short video the other day.
EDP.
And no, not EDP.
You said huge fan.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. He was at a Costco or something in Philly, and he was walking around and showing all of the empty shelves of toilet paper, and then he says, "Oh my!" He says, "Oh Lord, thank God!" And he shows the New York Giants section, and he grabs one of those New York Giants throw blankets and says, "One roll left." It's just a great freaking video, man. I wish I'd have thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit bummed that and in fact, I think that's the name of the video is "Thank God." And you'll know who I'm talking
Philly
about.
500.
I think of his daggone name.
Philly
No,
5.
he's
Nitro Free.
he does 4th and John. He actually is down on the field for Philly games during the
I
season.
don't know nothing about that.
Daggone it.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that at all.
Guarantee you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, I'll figure it out while you.
Mitch all day, thank you for the super chat. He says, so you're saying I didn't win, huh? I guess he's talking about guessing the tattoo things. T2Y exclusive, thank you for the super chat, sir. The pine cone. Yep, he says, y'all come join me Friday at 7 p.m. Miami versus FSU, me versus Super Troll. Yeah, T2Y is a Miami fan video maker. So you guys can check him out. Click his name in the comment section. Take you to his channel. Bad Dog, what's up, buddy? Oh, he said it was E-Rock, BVD.
Yeah, E-Rock.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, E-Rock.
Okay.
Yep.
Bad Dog in that
By
computer
the way,
chip. Bad Dog in
shout
that
out to
computer
Bad
chip
Dog.
he swallowed.
You guys aren't subbed to Bad Dog. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
What is poor Bad Dog doing now that there's no Lakers games? He must be going into basketball withdrawal.
I think he actually streamed a replay of a Lakers game the other day.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
I
good
think he
thinking
did
right
too.
there.
That is something serious there.
And got a lot of viewers to us replay.
I wonder how
Like,
many
yeah.
comments he got saying these reactions are fake. He recorded it. This game was played a long time ago.
Leave us a comment, Bad Dog. I actually clicked on that stream for a little bit, and I thought Bad Dog looked a little bit ill that night. So I wonder if you were just having a rough day, or if you come down with something. Bad Dog. Bad Dog's a healthy dude. You know, if you guys aren't familiar with him, he's a healthy young lad, and maybe he was just sick because his Lakers had been taken away from him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Laker Dog.
Mitch all day.
Wow.
Thank you again for the super chat. He says, if you're in the Boston area, you must visit Salem. Very cool town. Did you ever do that, SALEEN, in your time in Boston? The whole witch trial city thing, Salem, Massachusetts? Have you ever been there?
No, you got to remember when I lived in Boston, I was like from 0 to 7.
So you were still afraid of witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my sister was a witch, so I didn't have to go to Salem.
Lou Jr. had a friend of his spend the night Friday night. My wife and daughter were out of town all weekend for that dance thing, so Lou Jr. had one of his buddies over on Friday night to spend the night, and it was Friday the 13th. And they're holed up in their room playing video games like they always do when they get together. But I went in there 3 or 4 times, tried to get them to come out in the living room because a bunch of channels were showing the Friday the 13th movies, Neither one of those. No. I ain't watching that. Scared to death.
Oh, those Friday the 13th flicks.
Slim Shady, thank you, sir.
I couldn't I couldn't get into those movies. They just laughed too much.
Oh, they're hilarious now. When we were kids, they were somewhat not necessarily scary. They just had a lot of shock value,
Kevin Bacon was in the original Friday the 13th. He was the guy that got drilled in his chest.
Yep, he was.
Slim Shady has a nice little note for you, SALEEN Driver. I don't know if you saw it. He says, SALEEN, I try really hard to like you, being a Gator fan and all. Of course, if you don't know, Slim Shady's an FSU fan, so keep that in mind. But he says, I try really hard to like you since you're a Gator fan and all, but now you're going to slander my Bucks, sir. We're about to have a problem.
Well,
that's a bridge too far. You can talk about his Hurricanes. Not an FSU fan. Why did I say that? Miami fan. Canes is literally in his name. He's a Miami fan. Well, so talking about Miami is fine. But if you talk about his Tampa Bay Bucks, sir, that's a bridge too far.
Well, you got to remember, Slim. I live near Tampa. I don't live in Tampa. I live near Tampa, so I get all the Tampa TV stations down here where I live, and I got to suffer through watching these chuckleheads stumble and bumble and goof around on the field, and they're all being led by that former criminal Winston. And I just got to watch that and shake my head and say, when are you guys going to give up and move on from this guy? He was a system quarterback. He ain't that good. So I live in the area. I remember the good times. I remember a lot of it. Well, most of it is bad times. So come on, man.
But BVD,
I live in the area.
BVD, who was the coach of Tampa Bay during the good times, BVD?
Were there any?
Oh God, John Gruden.
Ah, any truth to that rumor? Gruden to the hill?
Oh, what are you talking about? He's already back.
Done deal.
Yep.
I've always wondered.
Tampa can kiss my ass right now because of Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians pulled a Urban Meyer on us Cardinals fans, so he can forevermore kiss my big, fat, large, orange behindside.
Yeah, Falcons fans have a story. The Bobby Petrino. I mean, he literally left at 2:00 in the morning during the middle of the season.
Yeah,
that's the worst one, isn't it? I mean, Kiffin left after the season. Bobby Petrino literally left in the middle of the season, in the middle of the night, with no warning. I mean, has there been anything worse than that as far as a coach leaving a team? That was cold-blooded.
Maybe their defense leaving the field in the Super Bowl with a 28-3 lead.
Yeah, good point there. Very good point. I've often wondered this, and what SALEEN was just talking about, Jameis Winston. I'm not a very big NFL fan and definitely not like a super fan of any particular team, but I've often wondered, like, people that are diehard college fans for one team and then diehard NFL fans for one team. Like, for example, I'm going to use you, BVD, as an example because you are a college and an NFL fan. How do people like that handle a situation? Let's say, for example, you're an Arizona Cardinals fan. What if the Arizona Cardinals would have drafted Tim Tebow and played him right away? How does that work? Are you able to separate the two completely and say, well, that was college, this is NFL, so I'm all in for Tebow now? How do people sort of get past that?
For me, it takes a little bit. I'm trying to think of an example of somebody the Cardinals have drafted. We've had a few Bama players over the years, but if they're really good, you learn to like them, especially when your team sucks as bad as the Cardinals have
Yeah, I mean,
all
can you
these years.
imagine being like a diehard Carolina Panthers fan and a diehard Alabama fan, and you've spent the last 10 years rooting for Cam Newton or something? Like, that's just got to be weird,
Yeah,
I would think.
that might be tough.
Well, Lou, remember that before I stopped watching the No Fun League several years ago, I was, and in a way, I guess I still am, a New England Patriots fan. I mean, I was born there and, started watching football. I started watching the Patriots. And don't the Patriots have a former Georgia running back now? I
Yeah.
believe it's Michelle, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So that's always been interesting to me. I've never had to really decide how I was going to handle that because I don't. I mean, I guess I'm a Falcons fan, but I feel like calling myself a Falcons fan, I feel like it's disrespectful to people who are really Falcons fans. So I don't even feel comfortable calling myself a Falcons fan because I just don't care one way or the other. They could go 0-16. It doesn't bother me at all. Georgia can go 13-2 and almost win the Natty, and it's the worst thing ever to me. It's so total opposite for me. My emotional investment just isn't there in the NFL. So, but I've always been curious about people who are diehard fans of one certain college team and one certain NFL team, and how they sort of juxtapose those two things when, a star from a hated team in college ends up being a star for their team in the NFL.
Well, I know a couple of people that I went to high school with, and I actually even went to college with at UF. They have been, for the longest time, very good Bucks fans. And when they drafted Winston, every one of them, and it's about a half dozen of them that I can name off, a half dozen of them, diehard UF, diehard Bucks fans, drafted Winston, got rid of all their Bucks stuff, and said, I will never watch a Bucks game again. I know one guy sold his season tickets. He said, that's it. I'm done. I cannot support a guy like Winston. I can't support him because he was a criminal. I can't support him because of all the shenanigans. And one of them said, I can't support him because he's a child. But, that's neither here nor there. He is a child, but that has nothing to do with his college. So I understand the sentiment about, you're a diehard Panther fan and you were a diehard Bama fan, and now all of a sudden you've got to root for the Panthers because old Scam Newton is their quarterback.
Yeah, it's got to be a weird sort of mental gymnastics thing that goes on in somebody's head when a situation like that comes up. I really like the way I've sort of developed my NFL fandom, if that's what you want to call it, because, yes, I'm a Georgia fan, and no matter who they play, I want them to win every single time. But I don't make any secret about it. There are lots of players in college football that I'm fans of them as a player. And, it is hard for me to root for any player on Florida's team or Alabama or Tennessee. But, they do have players on those teams sometimes that I like to watch. And then there's lots of other players that, like I love watching Saquon Barkley play in college. He was so much fun to watch. So I'm able to keep up with him in the NFL, and I don't have to get wrapped up in the whole, oh, man, the Giants are terrible. It doesn't matter. I just like watching Saquon Barkley play football. I just enjoy it. I liked watching Marcus Lattimore when he was with the Gamecocks, and I don't hate a team anywhere near the way I hate the Gamecocks. They're by far the top on my list, but it was fun to watch Marcus Lattimore play. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch Tim Tebow play. As much as I hated him, it was fun to watch him play in college. So I'm able to sort of, keep up with those guys even when they get into the NFL without having to, worry about whether they win or lose on any particular week or if their team is a playoff team or not or whatever. I just and a lot of times it doesn't even. like I was a huge Saquon Barkley fan. That doesn't necessarily mean I think he was the best running back his last year in college. Maybe he was, but that's not why I for whatever reason. Certain players just tend to intrigue me for one reason. Jerry Jeudy. I could watch Jerry Jeudy catch slant passes on repeat all day long. It's mesmerizing to me. The guy is unbelievable. I just love watching him play. He might CeeDee Lamb might be better. I don't know. They're both amazing receivers. I don't like watching Jerry Jeudy because I think he's better than CeeDee Lamb. There's something about Jerry Jeudy that just I could watch him all day.
Well, you must be totally in love with Garantano's play then.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yes, I could watch him ad
You
infinitum.
can watch him lie on the turf all day.
He's definitely mesmerizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does horizontal really well.
Hey,
He actually does.
what about that? What was the guy's name? Maurer. In
Brian Maurer.
in that Georgia game.
I love watching.
It's
Garantano
only funny
be
now
covered
because
in-
it's only funny now because it turns out there was nothing wrong with him. But when he there was a series of like 2 possessions that Tennessee had in that game where he was just getting murdered.
My God.
Just murdered. The offensive line was we were just eating y'all up for a couple of possessions there, and he had to basically get not carried off the field, but almost drug off the field there at that one time. And he gets over to the sideline, and the camera happens to just pan over there and zoom in on him, and he literally just collapses right there on the sideline.
Yeah, he didn't know what planet.
And
he
his
was on.
eyes were rolled up in the back of his head, and it was just like, my God, did I just watch a man die on national TV? Now, it turns out he was, he got the wind knocked out of him or whatever the case was. This isn't an injury joke thing, but if you saw that, though, because, the 10 minutes of game time or whatever that led up to that, even as a Georgia fan, you're watching, you're like, you feel bad for the kid. It was his first ever start. And he's got to go against one of the best defenses in Georgia, and they just turned it on there for like a 10-minute period in that game to pass rush, and it was just unbelievable. And he gets dragged over there to the sideline, and then I think it was another player reaches down and grabs him under his neck and his shoulder pads and goes to pull him up, and like his whole body is just limp, and his arms are dangling down behind him, and just looked like
it
a
looked like he
rag
was
doll.
pulling a rag doll up. Yeah. Hey,
that was the first time I saw on national TV a mugging. I mean, that was just a mugging play after play. I actually felt bad for the kid.
that was Garantano's first 2 years. I mean, how that kid survived those first 2 years is amazing. I mean, he literally got the hell beat out of him.
Yeah, I do that award
20
show
some games.
where I make up like weird awards at the end of every season, and I didn't do this award this year. I should have, I forgot, I guess. But I do a toughest player in America award, and Garantano won it for the 2018 season because there was times I watched him get folded up like a lawn chair, and I said, that's it for him. He'll never play again.
Yeah.
And he popped
Didn't
right up.
you give that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He popped right up like he was made out of rubber. And right back in the huddle, it was unbelievable. I mean, time after time after time in 2018, he just got annihilated. Play after play after, and he just kept getting up, kept getting up. It was unbelievable to watch.
Didn't you give that award to either Blackman or Francois one time? I mean,
I might
remember
have.
watching those two.
That might have been the Run for Your Life award. Those Florida State quarterbacks ran for their life for 3 years straight.
And they're going to be running this year, too. I understand their offensive line still isn't getting it. But we'll see.
Slim Shady, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, with everyone quarantining themselves, I have a feeling lots of babies will be born in December and January. These stories float around. I remember we had a huge ice storm here, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and it shut the whole city down for like a week. You couldn't even get out of your neighborhood, and the same sort of thing then. Gonna be a baby boom here in about 9 months.
I remember they had that blackout in New York City in '79, and then 9 months later they had a big old spike in births.
Yeah, huge population boom there. Yeah,
And the
I
same
could see
thing
it.
happened in '93 in Metro Atlanta when that big old nor'easter blew in. I was living there at the time. Dumped about 8 inches of snow on and all of Metro Atlanta, shut the city down for about 3 or 4 days. And 9 months later, they had a spike. I mean, it was about, was it March? 9 months, yeah. So right around December, January, '93, '94, they had a big spike in births.
I saw a post on Facebook over the weekend that I literally I had to show it to Mrs. Lou. Like I literally like almost fell out of the chair laughing. But the gist of the post was this: it said, with all the sports being canceled, I had an opportunity to sit around today and talk to my wife for about an hour. Turns out she's a pretty nice lady, loves kids, loves animals.
That's great.
Really? You're gonna get it for that one, Lou. You better hope Miss Lou don't listen to this.
Well, I didn't post it. I'm just telling you what someone else said, but it was just hilarious, and all the comments in it were funny too. But so yeah, no sports to watch for the last couple of weeks, so I sat around and talked to my wife for an hour. Turns out she's a pretty nice lady.
Better than the alternative, finding out she sucks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey,
I
Lou,
guess
you
so.
were right, man. The market's taking a hammering right now.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Almost 2,200 down for the Dow, and
Oh,
all the other indices are down. So
yeah.
it was happy on Friday. It's pissed off now.
And the whole it'll bounce back thing. Yeah, it'll bounce back. But if you remember back in like 2007, 2008, yeah, it bounced back from that too. But like there were people in 2008 who were set to retire like in 6 months who ended up having to work another 2 or 3 years because they lost so much money. Now my dad retired 2 years ago, and I was talking to him a few days ago, and I'm not going to say any amounts here, but he retired, but he left a portion of his money in the market, and he's lost a lot of money in the last 3 weeks. And so, people that are even my age, or even your age, SALEEN, at 55, in 10, I don't know what the market will be 10 years from today, but it will be higher than it is now. I mean, the market has never lost money over any 10-year period. But for people that are, 59, 60, or 63, 60, whatever, and they've got their retirement planned out. And I didn't, I went through this with my dad when he retired about a year and a half ago, but retirement isn't a decision that's made, okay, I think I'll retire tomorrow. You plan that out over a 4, 5, 6 year period. Okay, I got to make sure this stuff is paid off and this money is here and that is that, so that I can retire at this date, and I'll have, if I live another 20 years, I'll have this much money per year. Like, unless you're super rich, which I don't come from a super rich family. My dad worked in a factory his entire life. My mom was a nurse. Now they manage their money well. It's not my dad's not hurting in retirement, but when you're living on a fixed income like my dad is now, and you've said, okay, I'm probably going to live this amount of years. This is the amount of money I have. So that means I can spend this much money a year. And suddenly the market has lost 25% of its value in the last 2.5 weeks. I mean, that is so. Let's just assume my dad had $100,000. Now he has $75,000, and he hasn't spent a dime. So it's rough on people who are at or in retirement when the market goes down this fast, this quick. It can have lasting. It could affect my dad the rest of his life in terms of his lifestyle, and what he's able to do. And I was like, well, I was talking to him, and I was like, well, hopefully you won't have to, make too many changes or whatever. And he was like, well, I'm definitely not buying another GT 500 this year.
No, he's definitely not. But he could still sell the one he has.
That's what I told him. I said, well, if it goes down a little more, you can always sell that toy you keep parked in the garage. So
I'm not selling that. Besides, even if I sold my SALEEN, it wouldn't bring me a lot of money. It's been so heavily modified. The damn thing as a collector's item is worthless.
Right. Yeah.
I'll sell it to you, Lou.
Yeah. Put me on a payment plan.
Yeah, well, you have to clean out half the garage because you're not going to want to park you're going to have to park a Gator Blue Mustang out in front of your house. I don't think so.
Leave me alone about my
You'd have
garage.
to park it in the garage, wouldn't you? Just to hide it if it's
Yeah.
Gator blue.
Oh, and you know, he wouldn't even buy it if I sent it to him with the shift knob that's in it. Now he wouldn't touch the damn thing.
Yeah, it was hard to drive that car and shift with my elbow, but I found a way to do it.
He found a way to do it. Yeah, and folks, he drove it pretty good. I mean, considering, you know, it's not the cushy tushy car that he's driving. He
Yeah,
didn't do too
and
bad.
the clutch in your
He didn't
car is
stall
so
it.
the clutch is so tight. I wasn't used to that either. It was it took me a time or two to
It's clamping a
without
lot
winding
of
out of first gear. Clutch was
Yeah,
tight.
it's definitely a different car. It's definitely very visceral.
You get a workout. You drive that thing in town. You commuted in Atlanta for years in that thing. You said your muscles in your left leg must be something serious.
Actually, funny story. Real quick, funny story about that. When I broke my left ankle in two places, and I had to go 3 months with zero weight bearing, and I got in and finally was able to walk around and do physical therapy. My physical therapist was somebody I used to work for, knew that I had that car, and he said, "You know what's going to be part of your PT? You got to drive the thing," because he knew that I knew that working that clutch would build my leg muscles up, and it would also help with my articulation. So he said, part of your physical therapy is you're going to have to drive that car, stop and go for at least an hour a day.
Yeah.
I say, like, really? Can you write me a script for that so I can get the money back on the gasoline?
Update for everyone on my kids' school situation. Just got the message. Today is the last day of school. They're going to be closed through Masters Week, so my kids won't go back to school till at least April 14th.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't close it on Friday. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I really think the website wasn't ready. I really think that's what it was. And then I think they wanted as many kids as possible to come today so that they could instruct the kids on how to operate that work from home website that they're going to be using, because they sent them they've been sending an email out every day for like a week. This is the update right now. No plans to close. Blah blah blah. We're preparing the kids for a work from home environment. There will be a website. Yada yada yada. And then the message that we got yesterday basically said we're close to finalizing this website. We're going to leave it up to the parents whether you want to send your kids to school this week or not. And so I sort of got the feeling, okay, well, they're just running behind on getting this website ironed out. As soon as they figure out all the details on that, I bet you they end up closing. And sure enough, it looks like that's what they've decided to do, because today will be the last day.
Hey, Lou, I've got an 11 o'clock appointment this morning
Yeah,
with
buddy.
the foot doctor. So I've got to tell SALEEN driver, happy birthday, brother. Glad you made it another year. And
Thank you, BBD.
We'll talk to you guys tonight. Thanks to everyone in the comment section. It was a great gathering this morning. I think we had over 225 people at one time. So
yeah,
appreciate all you guys showing up.
We need more people to click the thumbs up button, though.
Yeah.
Only 65. We got 187 in there. Come on, man.
You guys have a great day. Enjoy your birthday, SALEEN, and we'll see you guys tonight at 8 o'clock.
All right. I'll see you tonight, BBD.
All right. Take care.
I'll see you tonight too.
All right. You guys make sure and check BVD out. If there's, most of you probably already have, but if you haven't, he does a live show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. So check that out tonight if you haven't. And SALEEN, I think I'm going to wrap it up too. I don't know what and check on this kid's school situation here. I guess I'm going to wrap things up too. It's almost 10 o'clock anyway, so it's time. It's after 10 o'clock, so it's time to wrap it up anyway. But happy birthday, buddy. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have a great day today. I hope your whole week is good. Celebrate, enjoy as best as you can. I hope for your sake the Cheesecake Factory is open tonight so that you're able to go and enjoy your birthday dinner with your family. If it's not, for some reason, I'm sure you guys will figure something out, and you'll have a great time. I'll be thinking about you. So happy birthday. Thank you for coming on with us this morning. And you know the deal. We're going to have you on again. Can't wait to do it again. So thank you.
I can't wait to do it again. I love doing this. This is usually the best part of my day, doing one of these live shows with you and BVD. I can't wait to do it again.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I'm going to let you go. And happy birthday from myself and everyone here in the comment section and everything. We hope you have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Luke.
All right,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
Yep. Yeah, shout out to everybody that showed up in the comment section today. A lot of people here today, more than usual. So I don't know. The morning show might get real popular over the next couple of weeks with a lot of people being at home, maybe that aren't normally at home. So I appreciate you guys and girls taking the time to tune in this morning. Remember, we're always looking for a third host to join us on the show. So a lot of you have been on already. If you're interested in being on again, let us know. Just send an email. The show's email address is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, louandbvd@gmail.com. If there's a day of the week that typically works better for you, at a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, let us know. You can stay on for the entire time like SALEEN did, or if you can only come on for 30 minutes or an hour, or whatever the case, we'll be happy to work it out. But we'd love to hear from more of you here on the morning show, so everybody's not subjected to the mindless ramblings of just me and BVD every single morning. So shout out again to SALEEN Driver for taking the time this morning, and happy birthday. Thank you to all who helped support the show this morning through the Super Chat feature. Myself and BVD really, really appreciate it. Waikiki, thank you. Daniel D., Slim Shady, Michael Gill, SALEEN Driver, Shane Bentley, Waikiki, Slim Shady again, Solid Snake, Mitch All Day, T2Y, thank you, sir. Slim Shady and Mitch again, and Waikiki. Really appreciate you guys choosing, because it is an option always, to support the channel through the Super Chat feature. It really means a lot to me and BVD, so thank you for that. And again, to everybody in the comment section, and there was a lot of you today, appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. Me and BVD love this show, and we need this show too. It gives us an opportunity to talk about some things that aren't necessarily sports related. You guys get to learn a little bit more about us. We get to learn a little bit more about you, and I've really enjoyed that aspect of the morning show. I feel like I know a lot of you a lot better now after doing this morning show for the last 4 or 5 months than I did before, and that's a good thing. So thank you to everyone that tuned in, everyone that stuck around to the end. RB Smata, Melissa May, T2Y, Snake Spence, Volusia Orange, Jay Shipes, Bartholomew, good morning, sir. Talked a little bit about you earlier in the show. The Punisher, Jeff Webster, Dago, Snake Spence. Appreciate all of you tuning in this morning. I am going to get off and make sure I'm not supposed to go. I don't think I'm supposed to go pick the kids up from school. I'm assuming they're there now. They're going to let them stay there the rest of the day, but I'm just going to make sure and check on that. I hope all of you stay safe. You're your own person. You do what you want to do. I hope that you guys will at least take some common sense precautions, staying away from big groups. Maybe the common sense stuff. Wash your hands, hand sanitizer if you can find any. Keep a couple of feet away from people. Avoid large crowds if you can. I don't want anything to happen to anybody, and I definitely don't want anything to happen to any of us here in the college football community that we've developed here on YouTube. So some common sense precautions. There's no need to freak out. It's not the end of the world, but it is serious, especially for certain groups of people who may come in contact with this virus. So try to keep that in mind. We'll be back on this show Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. And I'll have my live call-in show tomorrow night at 10. We do that show every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's the call-in show. So that show is more college football and sports oriented than this one is. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure you check out the nighttime show, Uncle Lou After Dark, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. All right, you guys stay safe, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a good morning.